would all but assure them a berth in the postseason playoffs, a date their longtime rivals would dearly love to deny them.
Bitter rivals.
The Giants have won in overtime, and they come on the field in Bob Manning.
Long history.
Touchdown, Redskins.
That's Redskins football.
Take that, will ya?
This rivalry goes on 20 years ago. Giants, Redskins. It just sounds menacing.
Tiki Barber breaks 4 tackles. He goes in from 41 yards out.
Given the stakes this year, it's even more so.
All the way, Santana Moss, his 3rd touchdown of the game.
Same motivation to win.
Each game means something, each meeting means something, each play means something.
We ain't giving up just because we don't have nowhere to go. We still have a game left, and we still gonna give you our all.
Either you win these games or you're going home and you're watching everybody else.
We have a job to do, so we still go out there, we play hard, and we try to get the W.
Touchdown, Betts, his 2nd score of the game.
And then we just go ahead and continue to build for next season.
They may be building for the future. We're playing for the now. There is no better and worse feeling than trying to get to the playoffs with our backs against the wall, with everything on the line and everything right in front of us.
We're playing for our pride, and it's letting it be known that, as bad as we look this year, we're not the team that you think that we are.
You don't have to look at the stats or the numbers or anything. It's Washington, it's Giants. This is what it's all about.
Just 8 weeks ago, the New York Giants were rolling. Winners of 5 straight, they seemed assured of a postseason berth. But injuries, infighting, and poor play have taken their toll and left the Giants with just one last chance for a win. One last chance to make the playoffs and extend their season beyond this final Saturday of 2006. Good evening, and welcome to Primetime Football on NFL Network. I'm Brian Gumbel, pleased to be alongside Chris Collinsworth for what we think is going to be a great ball game.
Yeah, really the game of the weekend when you stop and think about it.
And one that has no shortage of storylines. This could be Tiki Barber's last game of his career. This could be Tom Coughlin's last game as Giants coach. The Giants could make their way into the playoffs, but all of that hinges on Eli Manning.
Yeah, it really does. And for Eli Manning, there's tough, and then there's New York tough. And Eli Manning tonight needs to be New York tough because he has every excuse. They've changed offensive coordinators. His offensive line's been reshuffled. His receivers are gone. But every once in a while, the quarterback has to step up and make plays and carry his football team. We've seen Eli Manning do it on occasion. You think back to the first Philadelphia game this year, but we haven't seen it on a consistent basis, and tonight should be his night.
You alluded to the big headline out of New York this week. Offensive coordinator John Hufnagel is out. Quarterback coach Kevin Gilbride is in. Desperate move, Hufnagel the scapegoat?
Of course. There's no question about it. But if it results in Tiki Barber becoming a bigger part of this offense, then it will have been a good move. So far over the past few weeks, this offense has run through Eli Manning. It really needs to get back to the focal point, and that is Tiki Barber. Now, I'm not necessarily, you don't have to give him the ball and let him run it every down. Throw him the football, let him run it, let him make the plays to get this offense jump-started.
Unless you think the Redskins have nothing to play for. They've been out of it for 3 weeks, but they lost by 2 to Philadelphia. They went in New Orleans and beat the Saints. They lost in overtime just last week in St. Louis. They would love to beat the Giants tonight.
Oh, there's just no question about it. You're talking about a division rival, and the number one thing the Washington Redskins would love to do is to send the Giants home with their tail tucked between their legs.
This game on NFL Network is being brought to you tonight in lovely, glorious, enlightening high definition. Washington has won the toss. They will receive. So Jay Feely will get us underway. Is this the Giants' last game of their season? We'll know in about 3 hours. This is Rock Cartwright at his own 3. Cartwright moves it up to about the 26, and that's from where Jason Campbell will lead his offense onto the field. Campbell starts at quarterback, second-year man out of Auburn. This is just his 7th start. The Skins see him as their quarterback of the future. Filling in for Clinton Portis, Liddell Betts has over 1,000 yards this year and has rushed for over 100 in each of his last 5 games. Santana Moss is their deep threat. tackle Chris Samuels, the star of the offensive line. He's heading to his 4th straight Pro Bowl. The other tackle, John Jansen, has been a Washington mainstay for 7 years. From the 27, Betts gets his first carry of the night. Gets it to the 28, gives us an opportunity to set the Giants' defense. With Michael Strahan out, the Giants will start rookie Matthias Kiwanuka opposite Osi Umenyiora at defensive end. The linebackers, they're a veteran group. Carlos Emmons and Brandon Short flank ex-Redskin Antonio Pierce, who starts in the middle. R.W. McQuarters, Jabril Wilson, Will Demsch, Sam Madison make up a well-seasoned secondary, but one that has been pretty porous this year. Betts with a gain of 1 on the last play, gets it again, fights his way to the 30. For Brandon Short being credited with the stop.
Yeah, and really a pretty good start here for the New York Giants. There's no question that the Washington Redskins want to come out and test the toughness of the New York Giants. The Redskins, since the quarterback change to Jason Campbell, have been a run, pass football team. And now to start this game, you start off with a 3rd and 8 for this Giants defense. Pretty good start.
Antoine Randall goes wide to the top of your screen. He's playing tonight because Brandon Lloyd was a late scratch with bronchitis. Campbell will throw to Mike Sellers. 1st down, Redskins. Sellers, their big fullback. 7-year man out of Walla Walla.
Well, first of all, Chris Samuels is going to come up with a big block on the blitzer inside. And when the blitzer comes up the middle, that's going to leave a void in the defense, and Sellers found the spot. But more importantly, Jason Campbell found him.
That was Short that Samuels picked off, allowing the Redskins keep this drive alive. Campbell with time. Flush this side, completes it to Betts, and Betts pushed out of bounds at the 46.
One of the things the Redskins like to do offensively is keep people in to protect their young quarterback. They don't want him seeing a constant variety of blitzes. Unfortunately, what that does, it means that you only get a couple of people out in the pass pattern. That time, a 2-man route by the Redskins. So once Santana Moss was covered, there really was no place else for Jason Campbell to go with the ball.
For the first time tonight, the Skins go 4 wide. That's Patton in motion. Betts gets it. 1st down, Redskins as he crosses midfield. R.W. McQuarters coming up to make the stop. This Giant defense, too, has been a different defense throughout these last 7 games when they've had their problems.
Yeah, they really have been, and they have some weaknesses. There's no question about it, as the Redskins pick up the 1st down there. And probably their greatest weakness is in their secondary. They just don't have a lot of speed anywhere in that secondary, so they're basically forced into zone coverages at all time, which really limits the amount of pressure that you can bring on the offense.
Betts has come to the sidelines, and T.J. Duckett, the ex-Falcon, is checked into the ball game. Duckett will get it. Gets just barely back to the line of scrimmage before Will Demps comes up from the secondary to make the stop.
And Will Demps, a guy that has come over and tried to fill some big shoes at the safety position, walking up in the hole. And the New York Giants defensively have decided they're going to do whatever it takes to put the ball in Jason Campbell's hands. They are not going to let the running game of the Washington Redskins beat them. If he can beat them one-on-one pass routes down the field, so be it.
As you saw, that's Liddell Betts remaining on the sidelines. Campbell under a strong rush. Osi Umenyiora has him, let him go. Campbell, 1st down, Skins.
Boy, did that remind you of anything?
The Kiwanuka would-be sack on Vince Young.
It really did. And Osi Umenyiora now is going to have something to talk about with Matthias Kiwanuka working against Chris Samuels. Makes a great move, gets to the inside and just has him dead to rights. Has his jersey, but Chris Samuels stayed after him long enough to just give a little separation. And there you see the strength of Jason Campbell able to get out.
6'4", 230. He's no small quarterback. The Skins with their first foray into Giants territory turned a 10-yard loss into a 12-yard gain. This is Betts for perhaps a gain of 1. This was the would-be sack that you were alluding to in Week 12. When Matthias Kiwanuka had Vince Young and let him go.
Yeah, and there's so many rules out there to protect the quarterback. You have to feel a little bit for Kiwanuka, but if the Giants had held on to that sack and held on to that game, we're sitting here in basically a meaningless game. The Giants have already clinched their playoff spot. It's amazing when you look back on a season and one play can mean so much.
Another woulda, shoulda, coulda.
Yeah.
Campbell with good time, completing this one to Moss. Another first down for the Redskins, down to the 23. Good opening drive by Campbell and company.
Yeah, it really is. And for Santana Moss, he's been battling hamstring injuries almost throughout the entire season, but he is clearly one of the top receivers in the game. We were talking with Sam Madison of the Giants, and he said there is no question this guy is one of the top 5 receivers in the game today.
Santana's baby brother is on the opposite sideline, Sonoris Moss.
He's not as good as Santana, though.
Not yet. We expect to see him a little bit later. Campbell throws this side. That's Chris Cooley with his first catch of the night. He's their leading receiver in terms of receptions and a fan favorite here. They call him Captain Chaos. And
Jason Campbell's favorite receiver, and you see why. It's the yards after the catch. Among all the tight ends in the NFL, and certainly there are some great ones, nobody has more yards after the catch than Chris Cooley, and there it is. He just makes people miss in the open field.
Campbell has completed his first 4 throws of the night.
His hairstyle's changed a little over the years, though.
Cooley, you mean?
Yeah.
This is Betts. Ball comes free. This is Fred Robbins. Fred Robbins. Campbell's got an angle. From behind, James Thrash caught him, brought him down at the 10-yard line.
And for Liddell Betts, it's deja vu all over again, as Yogi would say. His big fumble at the end of the game last week cost the Redskins, and now turns around, puts it on the ground. I think that's Brandon Short who got the hit. Just an absolutely clean hit, helmet on the ball. And then the big guy did a little rumbling. Fred
Accented a little.
Chugging, baby. I mean, he's chugging for all he's worth.
The piano jumped on his back at about the 30.
He's saying, you know, he's thinking, somebody please tackle me. I'm about to die here. James Thrash finally did him a favor.
At 3:17, he was moving it as best he could. Eli Manning and the Giants offense with great field position at the 13. Tiki Barber fighting his way up past the 10.
Big time hit that time by Brandon Short to give this team a break. Boy, it looked like the Redskins were just going to march it right down the field and score on the opening drive, and all the momentum on their side, and just one big play by Brandon Short turned everything around. Now the Giants have to take advantage.
They have not been great in the red zone, particularly over the last 7 weeks. Manning with time dumped. Well, that's a bit of a happening because that's something the Redskins don't do very much. They have the fewest sacks in the league, but they got to Manning.
Although for Andre Carter, he has been playing better than anybody on this Redskins defense. And up front, David Deal, if you're a Giants fan, you recognize him as a guard, and he blocked like a guard that time. He's been moved out there. They moved Bob Whitfield out after a couple of headbutts and some other problems, and Deal gets beat on the first big play.
Has left Manning with a 3rd and long. Swings it wide for Plaxico Burress, incomplete. Carlos Rogers on the coverage. And that series kind of typified what the Giants offense has been like the past 7 weeks.
Well, let me just say this. Until Eli Manning finds a way to beat pressure defenses, he is going to continue to see him. Everyone knows now that the way to beat the Giants, the way to beat Eli Manning, is to bring pressure, and once again the Giants fail in that situation.
And so Jay Feely has come on for a 34-yard field goal attempt, which is good. And so we're just about 8 minutes into this ball game. Following a turnover, the Giants get on the board first. They lead it 3-0. Field position, but could do nothing with 3 downs. You think Fred's back yet?
He's still trying to catch his breath over there.
And so Jay Feely, who kicked a 34-yard field goal for the first points of the game, will kick off for the second time tonight. Brock Cartwright being driven back in his own end zone. He'll take a knee. We'll take a break as Campbell and the Redskins offense come back on the field. Liddell Betts, there's the turnover that has us in a 3-0 ball game in Washington. Robbins returned it. Since then, Betts has gone to the sidelines and donned a sleeve on that right arm. Not sure what all that means, but
we'll find out.
He'll get this carry. And he gets close to the first down marker, brought down at the 29. Will Demps coming up to hit him.
That was what you call an angry run right there, and just a little padding in that sleeve. It also, the rubber will make your arms sweat a little bit more, but watch him just run right through Jabril Wilson here, who didn't make much of an effort to get him down on that play, but he sure had it covered up the next time. The last time when he fumbled, he put 2 hands on it, but it was just loosely on the ball. And 2 fumbles in such a short period of time between the 2 games. He has to be thinking about it now.
Mike Sellers, the lone back. He'll get the first down as he crosses the 30. You think we have some interested spectators among the rosters of the Green Bay Packers, Carolina Panthers, Atlanta Falcons, and St. Louis Rams?
We sure do. The Gang of 5 is clearly interested in this one. There are a lot of scenarios. Let me give it to you as simply as I can. If the New York Giants win, they're going to be the 6th seed. They're going to make the playoffs.
There is a mathematical chance they could be eliminated on strength of schedule, but that's not going to happen.
Right, and then sort of in that order, the order that we think has the best chance after that, with the Green Bay Packers being next in line.
And you're going to break all of them down. This is Campbell throwing long. Lot of contact, no flag. He was going for Antoine Randall. Sam Madison was there, and you see Randall copping a plea.
And what Antoine Randall is saying at the end of this play, he knocked my hands away from the ball, and you could see a little bit of a hook of the arm in there by Sam Madison, but a little bit of that was Antoine Randall fighting back, and they were just sort of arm fighting. I thought that was a good no call by the officials. And
you're a receiver.
Well, of course, yeah. But for Sam Madison, he just happened to be playing a little man coverage again. He's so sick of these zones that the Giants play.
This is Betts finding running room inside, getting to midfield and in the Giant territory before being brought down in the arms of Jabril Wilson.
And right up the gut, one of the problems that the Giants have been having defensively is as teams begin to spread them out. You can see Randall in the backfield, Chris Cooley split out, is that they get pretty small in there, and they just don't stand up the way that they can, because you can't bring the safeties down. You have to spread out your outside linebackers, and teams have been gouging them with this strategy now for about a month.
Give Betts 21 yards on that pickup. This is Randall looking to throw. Got Moss open. Touchdown, Redskins. .48 yards on the option play, and this isn't Randall's best throw. This one was up there a long time.
You know what? He threw this thing about 55 yards under pressure from Matthias Kiwanuka, but check out the play on the other end by Moss. He just came in and simply stole the ball from Sam Madison. The difference in the great receivers in this game is the play that they make on the ball when it's in the air. That time Moss just wanted it a little bit more.
No wonder he's in Madison's top 5. Sean Sweezum adds the extra point, and the Redskins have moved out in front as we've moved inside the 5-minute mark of the first period. It's the Redskins 7 and the Giants 3. This field has been electrified following a 5-play, 80-yard drive completed with a 48-yard pass from Antoine Randall to Santana Moss.
Yeah, and it wasn't the prettiest pass in the world coming down, but Santana Moss just undercut Madison on the play, and Madison, by going for the interception, instead of trying to get his hands up and knocking down the ball, he had his hands held underneath and allowed Moss to come in front of him and pick it off.
This is Santana's baby brother, Sonoris, who's been pressed into service, trying to get a handle on it there. Inside his 5, he'll get back to the 12. We've got our first flag of the night.
I told you he wasn't as good as his brother.
That's harsh.
I know.
He's been pressed in.
Holding number 48, receiving team. Half the distance to the goal. Be first down. Timeout.
Moss pressed into service because Chad Morton has a busted knee, one of many Giants in the injured list. They're trailing 7-3. We'll be
proud sponsor of the National Football League.
The New York Giants began their first offensive possession with great field position following the turnover. Their second begins with awful field position. They're backed up their own 6-yard line. Tiki Barber trying to find some room, gets his way back to the 10-yard line before Kedrick Colston brings him down. Let's set the Giants offense for you. Eli Manning, in his 3rd year now, remains a pretty inconsistent work in progress, thrown 18 interceptions to go along with his 23 touchdowns. As we've noted, Tiki Barber starts in what could be the final game of his 10-year career. Basanti Shenko starts at tight end. Jeremy Shockey is out with an ankle injury. Up front, David Deal slides over to left tackle, and Gray Rugemer gets a start at Deal's guard spot. O'Hara, Snee, and McKenzie round out the offensive line. Barber again runs into his own blocker, bounces off, and gets back to about the 14-yard line. Philip Daniels with the stop there. Let's set that Washington defense. Their front 4 features Andre Carter at one end and Philip Daniels at the other. They're the 2 pressure guys up front. The outside linebackers tonight are Warwick Holdman and Rocky McIntosh. Lamar Marshall in the middle leads the team in tackles. Kenny Wright's in for the injured Sean Springs at one corner. Vernon Fox, coming off a monster game, starts at free safety beside Sean Taylor, who's the enforcer of this Washington defense. The Giants, here's a number for you, 0 for their last 16 on 3rd down. We've got a flag down and a signal for the Giants timeout.
I think it was a great job by Tiki Barber. He called timeout in the backfield.
Prior to the delay, this is the first charge timeout, New York.
Yeah, Eli Manning did not see the play clock running down. Tiki saw it and called the timeout. Good play by Tiki.
I really had a bit of an argument saying that Tiki Barber did not call this before the play clock expired. Does he have a case?
Well, he does. It did come afterwards, but there is a built-in delay. The officials have to see the clock hit 0 and then look up to see if the ball snaps. So there is, in essence, another second on that clock, and that time it benefited the Giants.
Barber will get the first down and find some running room off the right side, crossing the 40, close to midfield before being brought down following the block of Basanti Shenko on the right side.
What a run that time by Tiki Barber. This hole closes up in a hurry, and watch him jump right. There's the double team. He bounces it to the outside, and now the acceleration to turn it into a big play. That's why so many people simply can't believe that Tiki Barber is going to run off into television land. I still can't figure that one out.
What do you say? He's got an announcement coming up, what, Monday?
I guess.
32-yard carry for Barber. Manning will throw this time for Tim Carter, in and out of his hands. This Sunday night, Steve Mariucci and Deion Sanders join host Rich Eisen, give you the complete playoff picture, who's in, who's out. Spend New Year's Eve watching NFL Game Day, 11:30 Eastern, only on NFL Network. How are you going to spend New Year's Eve, by the way?
Studying football, like I always do.
Poor Holly.
I know. She loves it, though. She loves football.
She has to.
Yep.
Tiki will get it again, but this time he's dropped in the backfield. Rocky McIntosh coming in from his outside linebacker post.
You know, Rocky McIntosh is a young man that I'm not sure he even knows where he's going half the time, but he's exciting and he's trying to make plays, and he makes a lot of mistakes, but he also uses his speed to make plays like this. How many guys in this league could run around that pile and catch Tiki Barber from behind? There's no question this young man has a bright future.
McIntosh getting a rare start tonight. Brandon Jacobs has checked in for the first time tonight in place of Barber in the backfield on 3rd and 12. Manning with time. Tim Carter close to the marker, Adi Jamo.
Well, what's happening right now is the other New York Giants are not making plays. That was a blitz. It was a great pickup, and Carter simply has to get open and catch this football. That's one-on-one football right there. And with Shockey out of here, with the Monty Toomer out of here, guys like Tim Carter and David Tyree have to step up and make plays, and so far they have not.
But Jamo might have gotten there a tad early. Jeff Fiegels punts this one away, and Anton Randall chased back to his 5. Slips the first wave and dropped at the 13-yard line. NFL Network is counting down to the best team to ever win a Super Bowl. This Friday, it's the 1971 Dallas Cowboys. Roger Staubach and his teammates tell the story of their championship season on America's Game. That's Friday at 8:30 Eastern, only on NFL Network.
I did a speech one time with Roger Staubach, and he had, you know, a list of all his accomplishments and all that sort of thing. It was a full page, probably 25, 30 different things. The last thing on there, he won the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah.
Now, when that's the last thing on your list, that's a pretty full life.
His alma mater lost a bowl game today.
Sure did.
Got beaten out by BC. This is Betts. Plunging across the 15-yard line. Will Demps again with the hit. How do you do a speech with somebody? You guys talk together?
Well, it was right before the Super Bowl, and we're out there making up stuff about the Super Bowl. No better way to make a living, my man, let me tell you.
White-collar crime.
That's it.
Give Betts a gain of 3. Campbell low for Moss. Incomplete. That one hit the turf.
And when you have speed like Santana Moss has, this is what happens to the defensive back. Sam Madison is going to be forced to play a good 5 or 6 yards off of Santana Moss there, and that simply was just an underthrown ball by Jason Campbell. In the NFL, that's about as wide open as you're ever going to get on that play right there, and Campbell missed it.
What's Sam say? He can still play that press man-to-man?
Yeah, he would much rather be up in their face, but the Giants play off with the style you're seeing right here.
We've moved inside the 1-minute mark. Campbell with some time. Throwing this side, almost picked by Sam Madison. He's eyeballing Moss, saying, I was close.
Yeah, that time the Giants came with a blitz off the slot by R.W. McQuarters. It was picked up beautifully, and really Campbell had all kinds of time. That's the reason that the Redskins love to keep extra people in to block for that situation right there. So Jason Campbell doesn't have to think about protection. It's always going to be there for him. Limited the number of people downfield in the routes, though.
We see punter Derek Frost for the first time. R.W. McQuarters moving up to field this one and gets it into Redskin territory. Brought down at the 42-yard line. Adam Archuleta coming up with a hit. Now, Archuleta's an interesting case. This is a guy who was signed in the offseason, 7-year deal, highest number ever given to a safety, a $35 million deal, $10 million in bonuses. He hadn't played for 6 weeks.
Well, and the reason he hasn't is he's the same kind of safety that Sean Taylor is. He's a down-in-the-box, play-the-run safety. And I have to tell you, at the time that I heard the signing, I said, why in the heck would they want Adam Archuleta? Because they bring him here, and he was, in essence, a free safety, which meant he had to cover people. He's fast, but he's not a cover guy at all. And when he got here, they finally figured out, well, forget it. He can't play it back there with Sean Taylor, and he's a better player, so we're going to play him.
And the bad blood is starting to boil. He said these people have basically lied to me. Manning will throw it to Barber. He'll be short of the marker as he's dropped at the 35 by Kenny Wright.
You know, they didn't lie to him. They just misjudged his talents. His talent is not in covering people. And he was asked, especially with some of the injuries early on this season to Sean Springs and some of the other players in this secondary, he was asked to play a different role than what he could play. And Archuleta just simply couldn't fulfill that role. And they said in the locker room it was obvious he wasn't the guy, and so they had to make a change.
This figures to be our final play of the first quarter. Manning will throw for it. Throwing behind David Tyree, and he's dropped right there as the quarter comes to a close. The Redskins find themselves leading 7-3 on a bomb from Anton Randall L. to Santana Moss. But the Giants are on the move.
Network.
As we get set for the start of the second quarter in a 7-3 ball game, 15-year veteran Bob Whitfield has checked in at left tackle, and David Deal has moved back to his left guard spot. Gray Rugemer seems to be fine on the sideline.
I think that experiment failed. The first time David Deal gave up that sack to Andre Carter, they said, all right, we've seen enough of that. We forgive you for the 2 headbutts.
Tiki will get it. Right behind Whitfield, not finding much there. Of course, the problem has been that with Whitfield in there, they've had to use Tiki and keep him in the backfield to help out on that side.
Yeah, that's what people don't understand. When a player like Luke Pettigrew, who was their best pass blocker, goes down and you bring in Bob Whitfield, who's been a good player, but clearly at the end of his career now, you have to leave Tiki Barber in the backfield to chip and help block, and all of a sudden your passing game now is just spread amongst your wide receivers and the tight end, and your best athlete sitting there blocking.
And your most consistent wide receiver, your security blanket, Amani Toomer, has been out since week 7. Manning will throw this one in and out of the hands of Vernon Fox. And man, has that been a problem for the Skins all year long. They just can't get any takeaways.
And for Eli Manning, this is the issue that I have with him at this point in his career right now. Here comes a blitz, okay? He's going to pump fake, he sees the blitz, and he just starts to look uncomfortable. He falls away from this throw, and it should have been intercepted. At that point, you have to be Tom Brady. You have to stand in there and say, if they hit me in the mouth, they hit me in the mouth. But I am not going to fall away from this throw. I'm going to stand in there and make it, take a shot, but you can't just throw the thing up in the air like that.
His critics do say that he sees the rush, and he gets happy feet.
Here they come again.
He'll throw this side, and completing it to Plaxico Burress, his first catch of the night, gets the Giants to the 15-yard line.
Better. That was better. Again, pressure comes, and the Redskins are going to continue to pressure until Eli proves that he can stand in there. But even then, you could see a little flinch at the end of that throw as he fell away from it. The problem that the Redskins is they don't have. Rodgers is probably the best of what they have, but with Sean Springs out with the shoulder issue, broke his shoulder a week ago, Kenny Wright, Adi Jamo on the outside, and they don't want to match up one-on-one coverage against the Giants receivers, so it limits their pressure. They've pressured much less this year than they have in the past.
Manning with time, now pressured from the backside. Throws this one deep in the corner of the end zone, but Tim Carter appeared to be out of bounds there.
Well, Tim Carter here went right to the back of the end zone and had a chance to make that play. My preference is that you go help your quarterback a little bit more and come back. But for the Washington Redskins, this has been an historic season with the fewest takeaways, only 12 on the entire year. And unless they get at least 3 tonight, they're going to set a new record.
Only 6 interceptions all year long, and the fact they didn't have that other one will hurt them now as the Giants score. Tiki Barber, touchdown.
And when all else fails, and who you run behind? Big old Bob Whitfield and David
Bob's still
Deal.
a road grader.
You know what? And I'll bet you Bob Whitfield's a little mad. If you know Bob at all, he can get fired up in a hurry on you, but that time they went right that way and got the ball in the hands of their playmaker. Eli Manning's a good young quarterback, but when you're in a playoff, essentially a playoff football game, Tiki Barber has to be the guy.
Jay Feely makes it a 10-7 ball game. The Giants move out in front, and the Redskins are left to wonder what could have been. Potential interception in and out of the arms of Vernon Fox. It's a 10-7 ball game. Jacobs pulling the heavy load as they get close to the goal line.
I don't think Tiki Barber is quite ready to retire yet.
Well, that's not what he told us, right?
Yeah, he's playing awfully well out here tonight.
And he took some heat in New York this week. Some people suggesting that he's mentally checked out.
You know what? I've never seen it in his play. With some of his comments, I might agree with that, but I've never seen it in his play.
Cartwright will get a chance to return this one from his own 2. Needs a block, doesn't get it as he crosses the 30. Here's another look at the touchdown.
Well, here's the matchup I want you to watch right out here. You've got Visante Shenko, who's in there because of the injury to Jeremy Shockey. Now, Shenko is not nearly the pass receiver that Shockey is, but he is a better blocker. So now with him playing the tight end position, does that mean that we see more of a running game and more of a running style today and less of Eli Manning in the passing game? And I would argue that's a very good thing.
Now, would that be Kevin Gilbride's guidance, or would it have been any different with Huffnagel?
There's no question I'm seeing a heavy influence of Kevin Gilbride right now.
Betts pushed out of bounds as he crosses the 40. Matthias Kiwanuka getting there.
And Kevin Gilbride, of course, taking over the play calling this week. And there is a statistic that I think is really significant. The Giants script their first 15 plays or so. On that script, Tiki Barber is 60% of the offense. The rest of the game, he's 48% of the offense. So what that means to me, and Tom Coughlin probably as well, is that they're getting away from what they want to do. They're freelancing with their play calling, and I'm sure it has something to do with the reason that they made the change.
This is Betts getting the first down in the arms of Brandon Short. We had a shot of Gilbride on the sidelines, and that's somewhat significant because one of the things Tiki talked about yesterday about having the coordinator on the sideline so that things aren't lost in communication as he asks questions and makes statements upstairs.
Yeah, for whatever reason, Huffnagel started the season being moved from the sideline upstairs. And Tiki said it was such a huge mistake because I couldn't go over there and tell him what we were doing. He said I would tell somebody who would tell somebody who would tell somebody, but it was clearly lost in translation.
Campbell, Moss is open, in and out of his hands. Will Demps coming over. Moss clearly had a play on that one.
Well, that should have been a penalty that time, I believe, on R.W. McQuarters. That time Santana Moss ran a swing route. He broke to the outside and then went up the field. And McQuarters basically hooked him when he made the turn. It happened well before that. Sort of an out and up move. And when he went out, McQuarters bit on it and then grabbed him. The officials missed it.
Campbell started the game hitting his first 4. He has missed his last 4 now. And Betts getting stacked up on the left side for no gain. Barry Cofield coming across. First man to get there.
Boy, Matthias Kiwanuka can run. He can't tackle so well when he's going against Vince Young. But watch him come all the way across the backfield here and make this play. I hope I drew that the right way. There you go. Just going to run down Liddell Betts from the backside. That's the kind of athleticism, and that's the reason they drafted him despite having all the other defensive ends on this roster.
So Campbell figures to be throwing on 3rd and long. Low in the arms of Chris Cooley. They're saying catch, but it's going to be short of the marker. R.W. McQuarters up there with the coverage.
Yeah, essentially they had a box and one look that time against Cooley, and McQuarters just had him in man coverage all the way. And when Cooley stopped short of the line, I don't think McQuarters could believe it. He was like, okay, you want to catch it right there? Go ahead. No problem with me.
The coaches in the stands want the Redskins to go for it on 4th and 3, but that's not going to happen. Derek Frost has come onto the field, and he'll kick it away. McQuarters barely gets this one off. McQuarters lets this one drop. The Redskins will down it inside the 5 at the 2-yard line. So Manning and the Giants will start in the shadow of their own end zone when we come back. We're back in Washington where the Giants are pushed back at their own goal line. Tiki Barber so far tonight, 64 of the Giants' 76 yards of total offense.
Yeah, and this is the stadium, and well, not this is stadium, but this was the team that he loved as a kid growing up in Virginia, and guess who his favorite coach was? Of course, Joe Gibbs, right? He was a big Redskins fan, and now for potentially this to be his final game, who knows? Although he's playing like he doesn't want it to be his final game.
He figures to get it here. Finn is the up back. Manning will throw from his own end zone. Throwing low for Darcy Johnson. Incomplete. Tiki Barber, as we noted, is bringing his career to a close, and he does so having established a new mark of 13,000 plus yards for the previous 7 years. The man whose mark he eclipsed is standing by on the sidelines with us, Marshall Faulk. Hey, Marshall.
How's it going, guys?
All right, thanks. Hey, you think Tiki's going to miss football? You're a guy who's just out of it.
You know, without a doubt, he's going to miss football. But I think that is more important to Tiki right now are the outside things, broadcasting and standing on the sideline or maybe even in the studio talking about other things other than football is what he's looking forward to.
To give that time to the up back. What are your thoughts, Marshall? Chris and I were talking about it here, how Tiki has said that he absolutely still has a passion for the game, but he doesn't have a passion for any of the other parts of it. Can he divide his mind like that, or if you're a teammate, have you reason to question his commitment?
You know, I think it's more, he's been on one team, and I know for me, I probably would have ran into the same thing. But when I got traded from the Colts to the Rams, that kind of energized me and gave me an opportunity to play for something other than just for that team. I think right now, the things that are going on this team and them not having an opportunity to win the Super Bowl and maybe not make the playoffs are starting to wear on him.
Can you imagine?
Jim Finn with the completion there gets the Giants a much-needed first down. I'm sorry, Chris, go ahead.
Marshall, you've had a chance to work in television for a year now. Which one would you say is more exciting?
You know what? Without a doubt, football is far more exciting on the field. Covering it has been a pleasure. I've enjoyed Dion, Mooch, and Rich.
And you can't wait to get back to playing football.
Oh, I love playing football. It's just a whole different ball game when you get to suit up and get in between the lines.
Marshall, thanks very much. Happy New Year, my friend.
All righty.
The Giants have chosen to burn their second timeout of this half. And again, we can't state it enough that this could be Tiki Barber's last game. If he does, he goes out in a blaze of glory. He has an opportunity tonight to not only, we were talking about eclipsing Marshall Faulk for a 7-year span, how about eclipsing Jim Brown with perhaps the finest rushing season in a final season of anybody who ever played the game?
You know, I respect him, and he's obviously such a talented guy, and he can do anything. But the last 3 years of his career have been his career. I mean, he was good before, but he started lifting weights. He gained about 20 pounds of muscle.
He stopped fumbling.
He stopped fumbling in part because of the weightlifting. He said that there was so much work that I did on just grasping the ball and strengthening my grip, and now he's flanked out wide here, that it really made a difference along with all the things that Tom Coughlin taught him.
Brandon Jacobs will get his first carry of the night and puts a lick in the hole on Cornelius Griffin, who came up to stop him and had the misfortune of hitting him high.
Well, the Giants have been watching teams spread them out and run the football, and now you have the Giants doing the exact same thing. They take Tiki Barber out of the backfield and put in big old Brandon Jacobs, who is one of my favorite players in the league. I love to watch him run over people, and boy, that is really tough when you get some of those inside linebackers isolated like a Lamar Marshall, who's only about 225 pounds, trying to tackle him one-on-one.
Fake to Tiki inside. Manning with pressure. Throwing deep. Incomplete. Intended for Sonoris Moss. Kenny Wright with good coverage. That was Andre Carter who was pressuring Manning from behind.
And that was Eli Manning at his best. Watch this one. He's going to really stand in there on this throw. Sums right there. This thing's going to take a little while. Stands in there. Now deliver it. Now take the shot. Now you look like a Tom Brady out there. Stand tall in that pocket. If you get beat up a little bit, so be it. And that was pretty close down the field by Kenny Wright. Kenny Wright got picked on a week ago.
Big down for the Giants, or the Redskins would figure to come away from a punt with good field position. Manning completing to Burris. First down, Giants. Burris' second catch of the night.
They're trying to do some combination coverages on the outside, which is why that you're seeing the Giants go the other way with some throws to Carter, some throws to Moss, some different guys. Here they end up with the safety coming over the top, and they're trying to run to them. Basically, Plexico Burris now is the #1 option on this offense as far as the passing game goes, and the Redskins are trying to take that away and force it to the other guys on the field.
12-yard completion gets the Giants a new set of downs, and they'll call Barber's number, but he'll lose a yard.
Boy, Joe Salavea inside is doing a pretty good number. That time he had David Deal and just sort of pressed him back into the ball carrier and left no gap.
Everybody, it seems, has an opinion on what's wrong with the Giants as they've lost 6 of their last 7. Tiki had an interesting take when we spoke with him yesterday. He said, we've gotten conditioned to expect things to go wrong. And when they do, we start to press.
You know, and there was also another player that told me that I've never been on a team with such a fragile psyche. That when things start going badly, you see guys lower their head and, hey, this is football. It's going to come down to the 4th quarter. There are going to be mistakes. You just have to expect that.
Manning will throw off his back foot again. We've got a flag. This would figure to be against the Redskins. Carlos Rogers would appear to be the guilty party.
And Carlos Rogers was going stride for stride down the field, and I believe that was Tim Carter.
Illegal contact, number 22, defense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
He was basically pushing and shoving, but I thought Carter was kind of giving it back a little bit too. There you see essentially a cutoff, and pretty good call there by the officials. What they don't want to give the defensive backs the advantage on is to cut in front of the receiver and basically impede their progress, and they refer to it as the cutoff, as you might expect. And that time he got caught on it.
Moves the Giants out to the 33 on a drive that started at their own 2. Barber will get it on first down and gets another first down for the Giants before Sean Taylor comes up to apply the lick. Matchup of 21s gets the Giants to the 45.
The Redskins are going to have to make a decision back here. Are they going to continue with the 2 deep, which essentially means you only have 7 in the box against Tiki Barber? Those safeties are backpedaling out of there and a good 15 yards deep, and that is too much room for Tiki Barber. If you don't bring that 8th man down in the box, Tiki Barber might go for 200 tonight.
Barber again. Barber breaking tackles. A lot of room out in front. Needs a block from Burris. Gets it. Touchdown, Giants.
Maybe 300.
55 on that, Rob, gives Barber 123 for the night, which is exactly what he had when these teams met in week 5.
And boy, does he have a friend in his fullback, Jim Finn. I won't try and draw on it because I'll just be drawing over the top of Tiki Barber. Watch Finn come in and take a big shot there against Rocky McIntosh and just spring him in the open field. Tiki Barber slowed down a little bit at the end of that one, almost got caught.
Feely on for the extra point, which is good. And the Giants have taken a 10-point lead with 5:44 to go in the first half. They lead the Redskins 17-7. Following the longest run of Tiki Barber's season and the longest drive the Giants have engineered in the last 4 years. Yeah. A 97-yard drive.
I just don't get...
The Giants have taken a 10-point lead. I'm sorry.
I don't get what the Redskins are doing. Are they more afraid of Eli Manning and this decimated receiving core than they are Tiki Barber? They need to get that safety down the box, make some plays.
Brock Cartwright will move up to his own 9-yard line to field this one. He'll cross the 30. We've got a flag down on the field. Let's wait.
During the return, holding, number 58, receiving team. 10-yard penalty, be a first down, timeout.
Jeff Posey, the offending party, has pushed the Redskins even farther back with 5:39 to play in the first half. They're trailing 17-7. He's 123 yards and 2 touchdowns. He and the Giants are out in front 17-7. Campbell will throw on first down, finds nothing, and gets a gain of 2 before taking a pop from Brandon Short. Campbell is down.
All right, let's just show you on the touchdown quickly here. You're going to see Vernon Fox come down and try to be the 8th man in the box, but you have to make the tackle. And this is what they did last week when they were playing the St. Louis Rams. They got themselves in position and missed the tackle.
Meanwhile, Jason Campbell is still down, and the Redskins don't like it. They think he went feet first, and Brandon Short came up and applied the lick in a move not unlike the Gathers hit on Trent Green.
Well, he was trying to slide. It wasn't much of a slide, but Brandon Short got him. Tough. A lot to ask those guys to be able to determine that late whether you're sliding or not.
No, I understand, sir. The problem is I don't.
Young Jason Campbell has come off the field under his own power. He's getting checked out on the sidelines, and the veteran Mark Brunell, who was their starter for the first 9 games of the year, has checked back in to the boos of the crowd here at FedEx Field.
Well, they don't forget here, do they?
Looked like Jansen jumped on the right side, 76.
Ball start, number 76, offense. 5-yard penalty, it's still second down.
And Mark Brunell, you have to remember, went out with the 5th highest quarterback rating in the NFC. But basically that 3-6 record is what did him in, and they said, well, if we're not going to win anything this year anyway, we might as well find out what we have with Jason Campbell. But I have to say, if I were the New York Giants, I'd rather see Jason Campbell right now.
Why?
Yeah, you got a veteran quarterback here, a completely different style than what the Giants prepared for. They knew exactly what they wanted to do with Campbell, and now with Brunell, a little X factor.
Betts gets tripped up in the hole after a gain of 3. Jabril Wilson coming up. True enough, but Brunell is not a very mobile quarterback anymore. They know where he's going to be.
Right, and it's strange that basically he was taken out, at least in part, wanted to get some young, fresh legs in there, where Mark Brunell at one point in his career was one of the most mobile quarterbacks that there was. But right now you have a guy in there that at one point this season completed 22 straight passes. He's going to play a little ball control to go along with a much improved running game since he last played quarterback. We'll see.
He's a man Tom Coughlin knows well. He was Coughlin's quarterback in Jacksonville for 8 years. Showing some mobility left in his legs. He's not going to get to the first down marker. Will Demps and Antonio Pierce coming up to deny him.
Part of this is he's getting the ball down
to his feet and to the sideline. They were the best in the league, but they went from first to worst over the last 7 games in point differential.
And you know, what did Tiki Barber tell us? It struck me when he said, we have been conditioned to expect things to go wrong. Yeah. And I looked at him and I could barely believe that he said it, but you could see it in his eyes that it had fallen apart so many times this season that he sensed it within his team.
Jeff Fiegels gets it away. Anton Randall will call for the fair catch at his 33. Gives us an opportunity to get you caught up on how we've arrived at 27-14. Jason Campbell, this was the Redskins' last score, but Eli Manning and Tiki Barber and the Giants offense have enjoyed a pretty good night. under the guidance of Kevin Gilbride.
Yeah, they really have. They've played well. Now they need to finish it. You know, it's one thing to play well for 3 quarters. You got to come out and finish this deal now. And you have to go back, I think, to that pass interference call on Sean Taylor. No, you know, was it not? I don't know. But the flop is what drew the call, and that's what bugs me.
The start of a big drive for the Redskins begins with Liddell Betts getting just barely back to the line of scrimmage. You're right. If there has been a momentum swing, you can feel it here. The Giants need to make a stop.
But, you know, the other side of it is now the Washington Redskins need to create something as well. And for Jason Campbell, we've talked about the maturation process of Eli Manning, but for Jason Campbell, he's trying to convince everybody that truly he is the quarterback of the future. And these are the kind of moments you need to deliver if you are the quarterback of the future.
He did it on the last drive. 5 of 5 on a drive of 69 yards. We've got a flag.
Antoine Randall jumped early.
False start, number 82, offense. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
Every night, get an insider's perspective and hear directly from the players and coaches. They get ready for the playoffs. You can get it on NFL Total Access weeknights, only on NFL Network.
You know, Jason Campbell is a young man that he was the 3rd quarterback, and I don't know if this is going to make sense or not, but the 3rd quarterback basically makes his throws off a card of the other team's offense. They never get to throw to their receivers. And then all of a sudden he went from 3rd to 1st, and he had absolutely no work with these starting receivers and is just now starting to develop some chemistry with them.
See how he does on this chem test. Completes it. Anton Randall floated that one in nicely. Randall forced out at the 46-yard line into Giant territory. Jabril Wilson on the coverage. Good throw by Campbell.
And there was a little magic from that young man. Had to buy a little time. They moved the launch spot. He steps up in the pocket, and a very deft touch on this one as he drops it over the top for Antoine Randall, who makes the play. You know, Antoine Randall is a young guy they love on this team. So he shows up every day to practice with a smile on his face, loves learning this offense, learning this process, and has been a terrific player for them.
Running up inside, this is Betts. Getting to the 40, Osi Umenyiora putting a stop to his efforts. This one's coming back. Walt Anderson flagging the Redskins again. This will push him back 5. Completes this one to Randall inside the 40.
We're getting a little magic going between those two guys.
Campbell's getting the job done.
Yeah, the Giants are dropping back in that zone defense. R.W. McQuarters with a big cushion against Randall, as he should have. And they're just working inside between the linebackers. But boy, Jason Campbell now, after that touchdown throw, he's standing tall in the pocket, making some nice throws.
This time he'll give it to Betts. Betts eluding one tackler and getting close to the first down marker. Jabril Wilson taking his feet off from under him a yard short.
Well, Carlos Emmons didn't make the play, but he at least made him bounce wide enough that he couldn't pick up the first down on that one. You'll see Carlos Emmons coming up and getting away from Mike Sellers and just forced him wide enough for Jabril Wilson to come in and make the play. Now we've got a big 3rd down, but you've got to think this is 4-down territory again for the Redskins.
And they've gone to their elephant backfield. T.J. Duckett is positioned behind Mike Sellers. It's the up back Sellers, and would appear to have the first down.
And now this big offensive line starting to assert themselves a little bit. And for Tom Coughlin, you can only imagine what's going through his mind. I mean, so many things on the line for Tom Coughlin. If he wins this game, does he save his job? Some people say he has to win this game and another
one
game.
More.
To save it, who knows? I mean, with New York and the press and the pressure that they put on this Giants football team and the way this team has been folding, if they were to game, I don't even want to.
Completed his last 7. He's going for 8. Santana Moss And we've got a flag down in the secondary.
It's going to be illegal contact against the Giants, so this play will stand.
Illegal contact, number 54, defense. Penalty is declined. First down.
And this drive, along with the last one, does make you think about what Barber said about when things go wrong, we just seem to compound it.
Brandon Short working against Chris Cooley makes contact a good 8 yards down the field, and that is a strict 5 yards. But now Santana Moss starting to get in the action. Antoine Randall basically now has balanced the coverage back. He makes a couple of plays, and all of a sudden now Santana Moss doesn't see the double coverage anymore on the other side.
And Duckett is in there once again. First down, Redskins. He fakes to Duckett, throws to Moss. Moss gets it inside the 10 down to the 5-yard line. And Jason Campbell working a little bit of magic here on a Saturday night.
And they keep going play action on first down. The Giants are up ready to play the run. They go play action. And Chris Cooley was working it down the field. Santana Moss swings across the field underneath. And it was Cooley's double move that set up the fact that everybody had to chase him, and it opened it up for Moss.
First and goal for the Redskins at the 5. Betts, the lone back. He's following Sellers, looking for a block. Betts, forward progress stopped at the 2.
I don't know if uh-oh is an official NFL term or not, but aren't you starting to get that uh-oh feeling going for the Giants right now?
Uh-oh.
Because, and Tiki Barber, you go back to it, he said, we have been conditioned for some of the failures that have happened to us, and I guarantee you, you got an uh-oh right there out of Eli, you've got an uh-oh out of Kevin Gilbride, and when the Giants get this thing back on offense, they're going to have to make a play because their defense is getting pushed around right now. Oh, boy.
But will they call that on the Giants?
If the Giants move first and cause the man over him or the man next to the man over him, it will be called on the Giants.
Neutral zone infraction, number 95, defense, half the distance to the goal. It's still second down.
And there's a bit of familiarity to this for Tom Coughlin that he does not like.
And you can see clearly it was Awasam that made the first move there, and then once the flinch occurs, as long as it is the man over or the man next to him, you are going to get it on the defensive side.
Redskins offense looking entirely different than the unit we saw in the first half. This is Beck. Duckett, touchdown. T.J. Duckett. And just like that, we got an uh-oh situation for the Giants.
We sure do. You're going to get a split here. Fullback going this way, tailback going this way, so that those linebackers can't get a jump on where you're going. You saw Brandon Short that time lean towards the direction of the fullback. That's his read. And then Duckett jams it in off the other side.
And how about Jason Campbell? 2 drives, 11 plays, 69 yards, 9 plays, 66 yards. We're going to see how Eli Manning responds. It's 27-21.
What makes you special?
Look at the executive office building, but cross town, Jason Campbell writing himself a bit of lore here at FedEx Field. How about his second half? Engineered 2 drives for 2 touchdowns. One a 9-play drive, the other an 11-play drive.
Now you see why they like him so much. He looks like a quarterback back there too, doesn't he?
He does. Remember, this is a Giants team that blew a 21-0 lead at Tennessee. They were up 27-7 in this one. It's now 27-21, and Moss gets upended at the 23. And it's the Redskins who have all the fire and energy. We'll see if Manning and Barber can respond when we come back. Eli Manning has come back out, and the numbers have been disappointing, to say the least, in the fourth quarter.
He's not been good lately in the fourth quarter, and I bet you Brett Favre is bouncing off the walls right now.
Big drive for the Giants with 9:21 to play. They'll start it with Barber. And Barber would appear to have a first down. or at least close to it, depends on the spot.
Or we've talked about everything else with Tiki Barber, but sometimes his patience and his vision is his best attribute. That time the hole really wasn't there initially. And then he just sort of waited it out and waited for the blocking to happen. Again, Visante Shenko with a big block inside, and it took a little while to develop it, but Barber had the patience to make that one work.
The crowd at FedEx Field into it now. This is Barber again, and he gets stuffed by Sean Taylor.
Yeah, Jim Finn's going to load up again, and they're going to come with the double team right on the nose tackle right here, try and eliminate him. And then it's up to Jim Finn to just go one-on-one against the linebacker in the hole in there, and that's Lamar Marshall. Lamar Marshall is a guy that they will probably want to upgrade. He used to be a strong safety, then an outside linebacker, probably out of position as a middle linebacker.
He's only 230. He's outweighed by 15 pounds by Finn. This is Barber following Finn again, but not getting much. And Manning will be facing a crucial third down.
The one thing Lamar Marshall can do, though, is run. If he struggles in the passing game and some of those things. But that time he was able to use his speed to kind of beat those offensive linemen around the corner. And now for Kevin Gilbride, every call is a big call from here on out.
Maybe the biggest down of the night for the Giants.
Boy. Go back to, is Eli Manning, is he tough or is he New York tough?
He's going to want to talk about it. Eli brought him up, didn't like what he saw, and has decided to have a chat with Kevin Gilbride.
That time Sean Taylor came up on the end of the line of scrimmage, and I don't think Eli felt like he had it protected on that side, and so he had to come out of it. Sean Taylor's going to walk up over here to this bunch formation. Right here he is, and now you've got a short corner coming off of this side, and that's going to make Eli take a time out there. They didn't have that protected.
The Giants led in this ball game 27-7, but the Redskins have come out in this second half and found some offense. Jason Campbell leading the Redskins on 2 lengthy drives, cut the margin to 6. As the Giants offense has stumbled of late. And so Manning and company left with what is their biggest down of the night, 3rd and 5, to keep this drive alive.
And you're going to get a double team on Burris or pressure. One of those two things. And if he gets man coverage on the outside, which here comes the pressure.
Taylor's coming. He's picked up. Manning has time. Throwing in and out of the arms of David Tyree, but we've got a flag in the secondary. Oh.
Boy, that is...
Holding, number 25, defense. 5-yard penalty, first down.
And an automatic first down, so it wasn't pass interference. I didn't think it was, but you're going to get a hold right out here.
It's a good call.
And that's what they're going to pick up there for the penalty. You could see that Kenny Wright came back and made the play, but they got the hold early, and what a huge call in favor of the New York Giants.
And we've talked about who the Giants are missing. The Redskins, Kenny Wright is in there because Sean Springs is on IR. That's usually where Springs would be. And so the Giants drive is alive, and Barber will pick up 5 on first down. Ball's free.
And the one official holding up 2 fingers, which means it's second down. I don't know if he was called down by contact or if they saw that they recovered the ball, but it is still Giants football.
It's Kareem McKenzie appears to have, yes, he was down.
Yeah.
Kareem McKenzie, 67, appears to be the Giant who got down on it.
Yeah, and Troy Vincent's going to kick this one out after the fact, clearly after Barber was on the ground, no question.
Good pickup on first down for the Giants. They've moved it to midfield. Barber. First down Giants. Barber. Touchdown Giants. Tiki Barber breaking the tackle of Troy Vincent, finding off the right side, a 50-yard dash.
Tiki Barber again is going to be stuffed at the line of scrimmage. He's going to be almost completely stopped there trying to run behind the block of Sean O'Hara. But the acceleration of this guy, the ability to break tackles at 200 pounds, simply remarkable. What a night it has been for Tiki Barber. He has dominated this game from beginning to end. He said, give me a chance, give me the ball, and Kevin Gilbride has done exactly that tonight, and he may have awakened the New York Giants.
On their biggest drive of the year, the Giants move out in front, 34-21. 50-yard touchdown dash by Tiki Barber to go with a...
Hi, folks.
Boosted the Giants to a more comfortable 34-21 lead with just 6:13 to play. And while we were away, a flag was dropped. Roughing penalty on Gray Rugemer is assessed on the kickoff. And so the Giants will put this one in play from the 15.
Doesn't it just seem logical that Tiki Barber, your best player, gets the football? And for what has been this entire streak that the Giants have been on, it seems like the offense has started somewhere else. I just couldn't figure out whether they saving him for Good Morning America or wherever he's going. I don't know where he's going, but
that's probably not a bad guess.
Really, I don't know.
Wouldn't you think?
He'll be good at whatever he does, but I sure would like to watch him play football a little while longer. He can always do that other stuff.
Well, whatever happens, the Redskins figure to have decent field position here because Cartwright feels that it is 20, but he's not going to get much. Gets back to the 32.
Well, we've had some big plays and some big penalties in this ball game. Remember the penalty on Sean Taylor and the flop on that play, and that led to the Tim Carter touchdown. If he made the flop, might as well. And then you come back the other way on third down. It would have been the end of that drive, and you get the holding call there, and then Tiki Barber busts one off to open up a bit of a margin here, but still 6 minutes remaining, and the Redskins have been moving the football themselves.
Jason Campbell enjoying a great second half. He'll start this one with a give inside to Liddell Betts. And by the way, while I have a chance, let me just make note that we do not have indigestion up here. We've had a mic open somewhere, and we've heard a couple of noises that were not of our doing, shall we say.
Thank you. I was wondering if those ribs impacted you a little more than I knew.
Either that or I'm a great ventriloquist. Campbell throwing wide this side for Antoine Randall. He brought it in before being forced out at the 46 by R.W. McQuarters.
Yeah, and Brandon Lloyd not in this game tonight, and boy is Antoine Randall taking advantage of it. But for Jason Campbell, he's made some really big league throws here in the last quarter or so. This is by far the best I've seen him play. He looked pretty good last week against the Rams. They gave him a chance to open it up a little bit, and now tonight they're opening up even more because they got behind, and he's really playing well.
He's 17 of 22 for 167 on the night. Buying some time and throwing this one away.
Last couple of drives for Jason Campbell has had a chance to go play action on early downs. Of course, made the huge play with his legs, escaping everybody on about a 3rd and 9, and then rolls around and finds Liddell Betts in the end zone for the touchdown. And then the next drive, you could really see that Al Saunders started getting comfortable with his quarterback throwing out of the pocket. And when a young guy starts seeing the field the way Jason Campbell is right now, well, he looks like a veteran and not a guy in his second year.
He's facing a 2nd and 10 here, and again showing a touch this side to Santana Moss. And the Giants are claiming he was out, but they're going to give him the catch and the first down.
It was close. You never know. Does he double catch this one? That's the only question. Caught it cleanly, sort of trapped it against his body.
Yeah, but it didn't juggle.
It didn't bobble. I agree with you. I think that's a clean catch. He drags both feet. You're going to get a challenge out of Tom Coughlin.
On the field of a completed pass.
Now, these are always tough on the sideline, but I thought he trapped it against his leg and secured it.
Well, Walt Anderson will go into the hood. We'll find out the verdict when we come back. Tom Coughlin has challenged the ruling on the field. Although we don't get a vote, we think it's a catch.
Yeah, I thought it was. It looked like that his foot was dragging, and even though the ball moved out of the second hand. It was still trapped, and then that front leg dragged in. So both feet are down. See if you can see his right leg now. I think he's going to drag it all the way through the end of that catch and makes it a completion. And even though you don't see the
ruling on the field stands. New York is charging for second timeout.
And even though you didn't see the ball in that second shot, they can use a combination of shots to determine, A, was the catch good, B, were the feet down, and that time the combination of those shots definitively showed that it was a completion.
Big call. Had that been overturned, Redskins would be looking at a 3rd and 10 from the 48. Instead, they've got a first down.
Yeah, and really still plenty of time, but they need to crank it up here just a little bit. They need to stay in a little bit of a hurry-up pace, and for Jason Campbell, you wonder how much experience he has in that sort of 2-minute offense. It's been a couple of months now, though. I'm sure he's practiced it some.
Redskins still have all their timeouts. He'll screen this one to Betts. Betts with blockers in front. Betts crossing the 20. Betts to the 5. This one was set up perfectly.
Great call there by Al Saunders. They're just going to all drop back in a zone. McWhorter's out on the outside, and then you get those big offensive linemen in front, and you've got a problem now defensively. That time, sort of a prevent look out of the New York Giants, and gave up a lot of room on that screen.
And Betts has gone to the sidelines for a breather. T.J. Duckett is in the backfield behind Sellers. Duckett will get it and run right into the arms of O.C. Umenyiora.
Well, O.C. Umenyiora and these defensive ends, they can't grab hold of quarterbacks, but they do a pretty good job on running backs.
Of course, Duckett's kind of hard to miss at 255.
You know, and T.J. Duckett is one of those guys that is sort of like Ron Dane. You know, I mean, he's a 250-pound guy, but he sort of has the mentality of a halfback instead of a fullback. They brought him here thinking that he could be that big short yardage and goal line guy, but it's really not who he is.
Loss of 4 on the play. Betts is checked back in. Completing this one to Cooley. He gets it to the 1. A lot of poise being shown by Campbell. He got a fierce rush off his left side, stepped up and hit Cooley.
Good job again by Jason Campbell. That time Carlos Emmons coming with some pressure on a linebacker blitz. They go zone blitz. They bring everybody from the right side, and then they drop Matthias Kiwanuka off the other side in a zone. So basically you have Chris Cooley working inside against a defensive end.
And it would have Washington's first time out, first of their 3. Coming up next, it's the Home Depot post-game show. Join the entire Total Access crew. They're going to have a full game recap and some post-game interviews too. Rich, Steve, Dion, and Marshall will be along.
This game just refuses to wrap itself up, does it? It's just the Washington Redskins have been virtually unstoppable here in the second half behind Jason Campbell.
Duckett, fake to Duckett. There's Sellers. Touchdown Redskins.
Man, oh man, they send Mike Sellers in motion out of the backfield, and the Giants were so convinced that they were going to come with Duckett up the middle. They just completely blew the coverage. Nobody went with him. And Tiki Barber said, what do I have to do to wrap this game up? I mean, that was a quick march down the field, and we still have 3:22 to go.
8 plays, 68 yards. Sways them on for the extra point, and the Redskins are still in this one. You called it. They came out with a full house backfield. Sellers goes in motion to the top of the screen, and he is wide open.
They just missed it. The safety moved over on the play, and he decided that he still had Chris Cooley, the tight end, coming out, and literally nobody goes with Mike Sellers, just a blown coverage.
And so the Redskins still find themselves down by 6, but they still have a lot of time. What they've got to do is manage to stop a Giants offense that and Tiki Barber, who's had his own way all night.
They have to stop the run. And I think at this point you have to say, okay.
Make Eli beat you.
That's right. Hey, Eli Manning, if you can beat us throwing the football, you don't have Shockey, you don't have your receivers here, let's go ahead and load up against the run. And if Eli beats you, so be it.
Meanwhile, Jason Campbell, 3 lengthy drives in the second half, one of 11 plays, one of 9 plays, this last one of 8 plays. This kid is showing an awful lot tonight.
Yeah, he really is. And this is really his coming out party, I thought, was a little bit last week. They only have about 20% of this offense in of Al Saunders. They wanted to really simplify things. Joe Gibbs said, let's make sure we get this kid protected, get him comfortable back there in the pocket. And then you can see the growth start now. They're starting to open up, let him throw the ball down the field, which he does very well.
If you're Gilbride, do you still keep it in the hands of Tiki, no matter what they come out in, or do you entrust it to Eli?
Well, you know,
it's the most important 3 minutes of your season.
Yeah, I think that I probably would not go run early on, though. I might go play action here on first down, because you know the Washington Redskins are thinking the exact same thing, that Tiki's been killing us, and we've got to stop him.
Sonoris Moss getting it across the 25 to the 28, and Tiki comes back on the field with 3:18 to play. What a night. Tiki Barber's had 21 carries, 227 yards. This was his first touchdown, a 15-yard romp. Then in the second period, this one for 55 yards. And then his last one was a 50-yarder off the left side. He has a franchise record, 227 yards to go with his 3 touchdowns.
And I think Tom Coughlin says now, I have to win it with my offense. My defense is completely collapsed. I cannot give the football back to the Washington Redskins.
They'll give it to Barber on first down, and he stopped at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, that's when a little change up there might have been a pretty good idea. That time a lot of Giants in a pile. Chris Nee coming up slowly, Jim Finn coming up slowly, Tiki Barber looks a little uncomfortable. They all kind of ran into each other on that one. But Giants, again, they didn't go play action there on first down. The Redskins anticipated run, and the Giants stayed conservative with that one.
The Giants go to a double tight end as Darcy Johnson comes into the ball game.
Not conservative now. They've spread everybody out.
That's Burris in the slot, and Barber is wide left. He's looking for Burris. Incomplete. Carlos Rogers on the coverage. Burris wanted a flag, and that'll stop the clock at 2:33.
Well, they got what they wanted. They got Plexico Burris in one-on-one coverage, but Carlos Rogers just makes the play. He knows what's coming, and you're going to say, is that pass interference? And it's close, but he's allowed to break for the football there. He's allowed to try and go for it himself. And the referees let that one go.
Huge down for the Giants, 3rd and 10.
That incomplete pass, too, stopped the clock.
He's got Burris this side, but this is Barber. He's going to be short of the first down. The Redskins will take over on downs.
And you just get the feeling that they didn't quite trust Eli in that situation. You know, here he is. He's your franchise quarterback. It's 3rd and 9, and you just don't quite trust him.
And the Redskins have burned their second timeout, stopping the clock with 2:26 to go in this ball game.
I'm sure Eli is wondering the same thing. Hey, Kevin, now, you know what? You're paying me a lot of money here. I've been playing pretty well here tonight. And now you're going to turn the ball over with an eternity left on that clock. And now we have a lot of teams around the NFL in Green Bay and St. Louis and Atlanta and Carolina who, if the Redskins can stick it in here in this final 2:26, it gets wild on Sunday.
Jason Campbell could be a very popular man in those towns.
I think that one started with that first down run. And the Giants stuffed that, and then just all the momentum shifted their way.
And Anton Randall at the 24-yard line has been a big play guy throughout his career.
Don't forget the Redskins blocked a punt last week, too. Set up the return here.
He'll field it, and he's dropped at the 21 by Jason Bell. And once again, with 2:18 to play, this is the gang of 5. The Giants on top, but the Packers, the Panthers, the Falcons, and the Rams behind them. What they all need, what they all have in common, they need the Giants to lose tonight. And then there are a whole bunch of factors that come into play, but their playoff chances are alive.
And all those teams play on the road, so it is not inconceivable in this crazy year of the NFC where no one appears to want that 6th playoff spot that they could all lose and that the Giants could back into the playoffs. But they're not thinking that right now. They're thinking we have to come up with a stop, and they have not been good on defense for about a quarter and a half here. The Redskins have just had their way.
Jason Campbell, 16 of 18 in the second half. Campbell pumps over the middle, throws low to Betts. That'll stop the clock at 2:13.
The time Jason Campbell just didn't quite trust. They had a play set up to Antoine Randall coming out of the backfield late there, and he just didn't like what he saw and pulled the thing back down. I think he had a chance to get it. You know, I wouldn't be afraid to come back to that play. If you can get a guy like Antoine Randall, one of the best punt returners in the game, in some open space with the way the Giants are dropping out of here, he could create a big play.
They're big play guys. Santana Moss is split wide to Campbell's right. He goes the other way and throws high for David Patton.
You know, we talked about the nice touch that he had on the last one. There we needed to see the arm strength. He tried to float that one in, and you just can't do that in this league. Jason Bell is going to come over the top from the safety position. He had room to sling that one in, but when he floated it, it just gave Bell way too much time to get there.
And we see so many dumb penalties. Let's give Jason Bell a little pat on the back there. He could have tried to light Patton up and would have drawn a flag, but pulled off. And so Campbell now and the Redskins facing a crucial 3rd down. Last play before the 2-minute warning. Campbell, incomplete, was trying for David Patton. He comes up looking for a flag, but there's none on the field.
Boy, and I'm not sure I quite understand all of this. David Patton on back-to-back routes is going to be the guy you're going to go to. You've got a huge night out of Antoine Randall. You obviously have one of the best receivers in the game in Santana Moss. Chris Cooley is your favorite target. And on back-to-back plays, you go to David Patton.
And so Joe Gibbs has little choice but to go for it on 4th and 10 with just 1 second left before the 2-minute warning. This is the ball game for the Redskins. Campbell was going for Randall L.
I think Jabril
and that
Wilson.
looked like Jabril Wilson who jumped in there.
I think Jabril Wilson at the last second got a hand on that one. What a great play by Jabril Wilson.
2 minutes to play in the game. Giants in front by 6.
To you by Miller Lite. For great taste, there's no debate. Miller Lite, good call. Vonage, a better way to phone for less.
Back in Washington, where Joe Gibbs is about to conclude what he told us the most miserable 5 months of his professional life. A lot of people had high hopes for the Redskins coming into the season, but they just haven't played well at all.
No,
on
they
either
haven't.
side of the ball.
They really haven't. And I think the bigger surprise is the way this defense is played. But right now, with only 1 timeout remaining, tough spot now for the Redskins.
Brandon Jacobs gets the call. With both arms around it, he's brought down. And the Redskins will burn their last timeout. This Sunday night, Steve Mariucci, Deion Sanders join host Rich Eisen to give you the complete playoff picture, who's in and out. It's been New Year's Eve, NFL Game Day, 11:30 Eastern, only on NFL Network. You know, I've kept the personal wishes out of this for 5 weeks, but I do want to send along personal best to Bobby Mercer.
Yeah.
Great ball player and a good friend and a great New York broadcaster. Bobby was diagnosed with a brain tumor on Christmas Eve and underwent brain surgery. And we just want to send along our prayers to Bobby and his wife, Kay, our well wishes for them. They're good people. They're really good people. Hang in there, Bobby. The Redskins will not be able to stop the clock again. Jacobs will get it. And Jacobs, there's a face mask. Lamar Marshall grabbed a hole and just did not let go.
Now, Brandon, don't do anything foolish back. The game is now over. If you don't get a penalty, the game is now over.
Lamar grabbed it and just did not let go.
15 on top of it. But
personal foul, grabbing the face mask, number 98, defense. Half the distance to the goal, first down.
And so now we can show the graphic if the Giants win, and now we can assume that they are going to. They are in, essentially. But to make it complete, they need Green Bay to lose to the Bears, or the Giants would have to win the strength of victory tiebreaker over Green Bay.
And a whole bunch of stuff has to break. A whole bunch
of other stuff would have to break for Green Bay to beat
Green Bay, right.
Yes.
But for Tom Coughlin, for Eli Manning, for so many of these New York Giants, they have now found a way to come in here. I'm surprised they're handing this thing off. But whatever. Maybe I ought to just hold off. I'm not going to jinx this football team.
Does this save Coughlin's job? What do you think? Is it enough? Does he have to win one more?
Impressive. I have to say, this is really, really impressive. He makes the bold move for Kevin Gilbride. He comes back in here, and this team gets it done on the offensive end, because really that has been the question mark on my mind. You've got Eli Manning, you've got Tiki Barber, and can Eli play well enough? Is he good enough? And did they give the ball to Tiki Barber? All those answers seem to be bit tonight with Kevin.
Now they'll take a knee. They didn't need another Pizarchik-Zonka moment.
Yes, a good idea.
And so Eli, despite a bunch of troubles, will find himself in the postseason. For how long remains to be seen.
Yeah, we're not quite sure, playing either Philadelphia or Dallas, depending on how that breaks out. But this was a moment, this was a moment where it was really the burden fell on Eli Manning, and Kevin Gilbride was smart enough to let him get settled behind Tiki Barber.
And some Redskins upset with Finn's aggressiveness on what amounted to a kneel down that is going to end this ball game. And so they're exchanging holiday wishes.
And Basante Shanko pointing towards his bicep, and well, he should, because he had a big part of this one too.
But the night really belongs to Tiki Barber. 23 carries, a franchise record, 234 yards on the ground. You see it, 258 total yards and 3 touchdowns, 2 of them on long runs. Tiki Barber extending his career for at least one more ball game.
And it was a fantastic effort. Give credit to the guys up front. They were unsettled on the offensive line coming in. David Deal, Gray Rugemer flip-flopping. They got it done as well.
Hey, partner, it's been fun. Happy New Year.
Really enjoyed it.
You and Holly and the kids take care.
Thanks.
Our final from Washington is the Giants 34, the Redskins 20.